"This is Layla. She just turned 38, and her gift was to transfer to a new school, so she took the train to start over. She just got divorced, so a change of scenery wouldn't hurt. Maybe a new beginning, new students, and a new city will help her overcome all the problems she's going through." Not far from there, we meet Jason, a young man who, like her, is having a bad time. As usual, his family doesn't understand him, and his brother, who was always there for him, has just been arrested for robbery and drug trafficking, so he will spend a few years behind bars. As soon as Layla arrives at school, the principal gives her a tour and shows her her classroom. Soon her students will arrive, so she leaves her to get ready. Once class starts, we see that Jason is part of Lila's students. During class, she tries to get to know everyone a little. However, Jason doesn't participate in the activity and barely communicates with anyone. The boy spends his days buried in his thoughts. Not even his family can get him to communicate with them. His father, John, isn't very tactful and always ends up arguing with Jason, which makes matters worse. Shelley, his mother, tries to give him a break, but she always says the wrong words, fearing that he will follow in his brother's footsteps, something that is already happening. After school, Jason stays around the gym and sells drugs to his classmates. However, he does it for the greater good. His father is a failure, incapable of providing for the family, so Jason has decided to take this risk to support his younger sister, Penny. He doesn't want her to have to go through the same thing that he and his brother did during their childhood. The next day, Layla teaches the class as usual and lets Jason do whatever he wants. If his desire is to be silent and do nothing, she doesn't have the energy at the moment to try and change him. Her life is also going uphill, and she prefers to focus on the kids who do want to learn from the class. At the end, one of her fellow teachers invites her to an after-school activity, but she prefers to go home. From there, she calls her mother, Mary, who lives with her brother, Dale, to catch up on their lives. At home, Jason returns late and finds his father drunk on the couch. His mother begs him to stop spending time with his delinquent friends, but Jason ignores her and enters his room. A few days later, Jason finally approaches Layla with a question. He wants to write an essay, but when she asks him the subject, he says it's personal. Then he answers in a low voice and walks away annoyed, bumping into another teacher on the way out. Although Layla tries to follow him, Shannon, her colleague, tells her not to waste her time. All the teachers know that Jason is a lost cause, and it is better if he helps the others. Soon after, they assign the students to write a poem, and, to their surprise, Jason fulfills the assignment. After reciting it in front of the class, she was lost for a moment. The emotion that Jason put into the words just touched her in a certain way. The boy is deep and seems to be suffering inside. Before he leaves, Layla stops him and gives him a compliment on his poem, telling him that he has talent and that he should write more often. Later, Layla bumps into Andrew, the gym teacher, and he invites her to dinner, and she accepts, despite the fact that, when she returns home, she discovers in her mailbox the divorce papers that her future ex-husband sent her. The next day, Jason has a couple of poems, and he recites them for Layla. After a while, it finally seems like she is breaking down the walls surrounding the boy. That night, Layla and Andrew have their date, and then they go for drinks at the bar. There is Jason, selling his product, and when he sees Layla dancing, he stays for a while, admiring her. He doesn't go up to say hi or signal to her, he just looks at her for a few minutes. The night ends there. During class the next day, Layla doesn't see Jason, but realizes he is sneaking out of school through the parking lot. However, the boy comes back when class is over and tells her that he wasn't in the mood for poetry. She had a hangover from the night before, and she finds out that Jason saw her dancing. After getting over her grief, they both talk again until it gets late. That night, she is talking to her mother, telling her about Andrew. He seems like a nice guy and treats her with respect. Maybe it's time to start a relationship since their divorce is about to end. There's someone knocking on the door. It's Jason, but he's hurt. It seems like he had a fight and didn't win. She lets him in and tends to his wounds, but when she wants to ask him about what happened, he gets up to leave. Luckily, it's raining, so Layla offers to take him home on the way. He asks her to stop and get out of the car. Even though it's raining, she steps outside and takes in the view. Jason then asks her to teach him the dance step from that night, but when she realizes his intentions, she gets back into the car. Before dropping him off at his house, she makes it clear that nothing can happen between them, and that it would be better to keep their relationship strictly as teacher and student. The next day, Layla tries to avoid giving Jason too much attention, and the young man notices. To avoid making her uncomfortable, he also keeps his distance. That night, Layla is at the bar with Andrew. He won't stop talking about gymnastics, and she grows bored. Excusing herself to go to the bathroom, she comes out to find Jason waiting. He takes her by the waist and kisses her. For a moment, she kisses him back, until she suddenly realizes she's kissing one of her students. She stops immediately. Later that night, Jason shows up at Lila's house. Although she tries to convince him that he shouldn't be there, she eventually gives in, and they spend the night together. The next morning, Shannon visits Layla in her living room to say she ran into Andrew yesterday at the bar, had a date with him, and now they're officially dating. To Shannon's surprise, Layla doesn't seem bothered. She even congratulates her, leaving Shannon slightly unsettled. Later, Andrew arrives, trying to explain to Layla what happened with Shannon, but Layla tells him not to worry. A few seconds later, Jason appears and takes Layla away, leaving Andrew a bit jealous. Jason has brought her a gift, a gold chain. He claims he bought it with the money he had saved, but leaves out the fact that it came from drug money. Outside of school, they start spending more time together. On weekends, they escape to another city to make love and take pictures. One afternoon, when Jason returns from one of these trips, his drug dealer friends are waiting for him at his house. They want the money he borrowed a month ago. The truth is, Jason had no savings. He bought the gold necklace for Layla using his boss's money. Now, they want it back, plus interest. If he can't pay, he'll have to do a job for them, a delivery that night. If he succeeds, he'll earn enough to clear his debt and they'll leave him alone. While Jason is in the shower, his mother finds his phone on the bed and sees the pictures he took with Layla. At first, she assumes it's just his girlfriend, but when she attends the next parent-teacher meeting, she pieces together the truth. Without wasting any time, Shelly threatens to tell on Layla to the board if she doesn't stay away from her son. Luckily, Shelly doesn't dwell on it for long and leaves, avoiding a scandal at the school. At home, she confronts her son with the truth, but Jason tells her that his life is much better with Layla, that he is happy now, and that he won't give up on her for his mother. He even threatens to leave home if his mother continues trying to separate him from Layla. That night, Jason goes to Layla and brings her flowers, managing to convince her to let it go, and they spend the night together. The next day, Andrew sees Layla with Jason at school and finally puts things together. When everyone else leaves, he shows up in her living room and threatens to tell on her to the board if she doesn't do what he wants. He ends up forcing her to be intimate with him. Later that day, Jason finds out what happened, and every fiber of his being wants to smash Andrew's face in. But if he does, she risks him ratting them out, and she could lose her job and maybe go to prison for having sex with a minor. However, when Jason sees Andrew strutting at school as if he had won the lottery, he loses his temper and attacks him, beating him brutally in front of all his classmates. Quickly, the police show up, and he is arrested. A few days later, when he is released, Layla is waiting for him outside, but her mother prevents her from getting close, as Jason is at risk of going to prison for longer due to the charges Andrew filed against him. That night, Layla meets with Andrew and tells him that one of the things that makes her such a good teacher is that she records her classes to understand the needs of her students. That recorder was on when he extorted and abused her, so she is willing to accuse him of sexual abuse if he doesn't drop the charges against Jason and forget what he knows. Andrew thinks Layla is bluffing, but the look on her face makes him see that she would do anything for Jason, so he agrees to drop the charges. The next morning, Jason receives the good news and goes straight to Layla. She tells him that she quit her job and is moving to another city. It is the best she can do to not complicate things further. The young man begs her not to leave. He is in love with her and knows that she feels the same, but one of them must think maturely, and she tells him that she has already made her decision. Jason returns home with his heart broken into 1,000 pieces, and when his mother tries to get closer, he yells at her and rejects her. But she doesn't give up. She sits next to him and tells him that life will be full of broken hearts. He's still young and doesn't understand, but someday he will, and he'll realize that this is for the best. The movie ends by repeating the scene from the beginning. Jason is crying in his room while Layla boards a train with her things towards a new destination. Only this time, she is wearing the necklace that the young man gave her, a symbol that what they had was real, at least for the short time they were able to stay together.